While Keir Starmer is busy condemning the rioters in Belfast last night, I'm going to expose the money behind the rioters, and the British government need to start looking at themselves for the blame. So, yesterday, a few hours before the riots began, I did an analysis on the locations where the protests were being organised, and I point out that these are mostly UDA territories. And I exposed that, and I gave out a caution to the nationalists that, it's good to support the protesters, but be cautious that there's going to be loyalist gangs out. And we saw live how some Republican groups were counter-protesting and even attacked Irish nationalists themselves. So we accept that the worst part of the riots, the fires were set, and on the live feed I did an analysis and I described what they were going to do in advance before they actually did it, that there's a high amount of UDA involved in the riots last night. So where did the UDA get their money from? Well, the UDA are part of the Loyalist Communities Committee, which get a 50 million pounds worth of resources from the British government. So the British government are funding these loyalist gangs that organised the riots last night. And furthermore, on the live feed, which you can now watch on youtube.com/Liberty Strikes, I was like, some of those houses that they're burning down, I recognise them as loyalist-owned houses. So this makes the conspiracy even more complex. It's like, why are you burning down the houses of loyalists? Which I first thought that was a loyalist feud. But then think about it like this. There's loyalists housing migrants, getting the money from the government from the British government to house the migrants. Then the UDA are getting funding from the British government to burn down those houses. There must be some extra money being made on the side regarding insurance. So, while I personally support the ordinary people protesting, of course, we must keep reminding people that these riots were caused by somebody being stabbed by a potential Islamist. And I support Protestants and Catholics uniting together, but I can't support loyalist gangs or the 50 million pounds that they get from the British government, and need to investigate who owns those homes that were burnt down last night. Were they in fact loyalist supporters just doing a scam? So basically, if you look at the Barron report from 2003, this kind of explains similar kind of tricks that the British government does, funding a gang to cause riots like they have done before, and then they blame the mythical far right, which everyone knows there is no far right network in Ireland causing these riots or burnings. That if you look at the money trail, loyalist gangs being funded by the British to cause the riot, to burn down homes, some of them look like owned by loyalists. It's just a big, massive money washing thing. Just one, you fund the gang to attack the group that you're also funding to house the migrants. That is just, and the end result is to blacken nationalists who have been persuaded to join in these loyalist protests. Now, if I go up north, I'm going to be friendly to everyone regardless of background, but I don't support loyalist gangs or distant Republicans. I support democracy, freedom, and Ireland being united in Christ. And goodbye.